So, how in the world does a can of water with a skull on it become a billion-dollar brand? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the absolutely brilliant and frankly unconventional strategy behind liquid death.
I mean, let's be real for a second. Water is probably the most boring product in the world. It's the ultimate commodity, right? Just a basic, totally undifferentiated thing we all need.
You know the scene. You walk down the beverage aisle in any store, and what do you see? This. Just a wall of plastic bottles, all screaming the exact same thing: purity, health, hydration. It's just a sea of sameness. So the big question is, how did this one brand, with a melting skull on the can, manage to cut through all of that noise and build a legit cult following? And look, this isn't just about some clever ads. This is about a brilliant strategy that flipped the entire category upside down. All right, to really get liquid death, you've got to understand this. They didn't start with the water. Nope. They started by spotting this hidden tension in our culture. A real conflict between being healthy and having an identity. The founder, Mike Cesario, he saw this massive cultural gap. You had healthy choices over here, right? Things that were seen as, well, kind of soft, safe, maybe even boring. And then way over on the other side, you had this edgy identity that was completely dominated by stuff like energy drinks, alcohol, and junk food. And that right there, that was the real tension. The problem wasn't that there wasn't enough healthy water. The real problem was that if you chose to be healthy, say at a concert or a party, you couldn't also look cool or edgy. You were just stuck. So what was the solution? Well, they made a totally radical strategic move. They basically decided they weren't in the water business anymore. Not really. They just completely sidestepped all the traditional rules. I mean, forget about mountain springs, pH levels, all that stuff. They ignored every single one of those functional benefits that all the other brands were busy fighting over. Instead, they put all their chips on brand positioning. You know, the art of carving out a super distinctive spot in the customer's mind. And the spot they chose? It was one that literally no one else had even considered. And what do you get? This. Murder your thirst. It's aggressive, it's hilarious, and it's totally absurd for a water brand. Which is exactly the point. This is pure identity in a can. Okay, this is so important to get. With liquid death, the brand isn't just some label slapped on the product. The brand is the product. People are not just buying water. They're buying what holding that can says about them. Okay, so how do you actually make this rebellious identity feel real? Well, Liquid Death nailed it in two key ways. First, with their packaging, and second, with their wild approach to entertainment. Let's start with the can, and I want to be super clear about this. That can is not just design, it's pure strategy, brought to life in physical form. I mean, think about it. It's a tall boy can, it looks like a craft beer, it feels like an energy drink. So imagine you're at a punk show or a skate park, and you don't feel like drinking alcohol. Holding this can lets you fit right in. See, it's solving a social problem, not a hydration problem. And then there's their marketing. They live by a pretty simple rule. Don't annoy people with ads. Instead, be so unbelievably entertaining that people actually want to find you. And man, do they deliver. They pull some of the most outrageous stunts you've ever heard of. They took all their internet hate comments and turned them into a death metal album. They literally got Tony Hawk to give them his blood to mix into the paint for a limited edition skateboard. Every single stunt is designed to be so insane that you just have to talk about it. So what's the result of all this? When you stop selling water and start selling identity and entertainment, well, you don't just get customers, you start a movement. You see, their crazy growth didn't come from some massive ad budget. It was all organic. It was driven by people sharing the stunts, sharing pictures of the can, sharing the joke. It grew simply because it was so different you couldn't possibly ignore it. And here's the ultimate proof that this is working. People are willing to get your logo tattooed on their body. And yeah, hundreds of people have actually done it. When that happens, you know you're not a product anymore. You've become a symbol. Okay, so let's just recap why this works so damn well. Number one, it's a powerful way to signal your identity. Holding that can tells everyone, I'm different, I get the joke. Number two, it completely smashes the rules of the water category, and that contrast just grabs your attention. And number three, it solves that cultural problem we talked about. You can finally be healthy and feel like a rebel. But look, you gotta know the strategy isn't without its costs. It absolutely comes with trade-offs. By being this edgy, they are intentionally polarizing. They know they're turning off a huge part of the market. But that's the whole point. If you want to be truly loved by a specific group, you have to be okay with being disliked by others.
So, what's the big lesson we can take from all this? Honestly, it's a super powerful idea that applies to pretty much any industry you can think of.
The Harvard professor Theodore Levitt really said it best a long time ago. There was no such thing as a commodity, only people who act and think like commodities. Basically, a commodity isn't a thing, it's a failure of imagination. It's what happens when you stop trying to be different.
And that is the ultimate lesson here. Liquid Death proved you don't always have to invent a better product. I mean, they didn't make water wetter, right? They just took the most boring product on Earth and completely changed what it means. And here's the kicker. Once you control the meaning, you control the market.